2020 is thrown at us, whether
Moto count's insane.
it was on last year was, and last year was a record. So we're still above average when everything should have fallen apart.
Yeah.
And the Grands, what are 7 or
He's founded upon is dealing. So that's what it's. I think it should be that way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a Biden guy. Biden got elected. That's okay. He's my president. We're going to deal with it. We'll do what we got to do. But the sport is going to grow. If we get great ambassadors, and we can organize well, we're going to grow this sport.
Definitely.
It's been around for 35 years, so I don't know all the ins and outs, but I remember back in the 80s and the 90s, boy.
Yeah.
There was a lot of cool things happening and stuff. So
Well, with everything that has gone on, you know, Chris can attest to this because we kind of touch bases with Justin, is with everything that went on this year, with nationals getting cut back, certain tracks not having their races and whatnot, the sport actually did grow. Even though a lot of people chose to stay home,
Yes.
the novices,
it's nothing but semis every
Yes.
weekend on local single point nights.
intermediate here next year is gonna Moto count next year will break the record.
100%.
As long
like
as
the years.
yeah,
And 3 or 4 years ago, it was dead.
right.
3, 5, 6, it was dead. And you know, we're strong 20s
That's good.
and pushing forward. You know, little fighters.
My goodness.
Things that I don't like about what I don't like all the emphasis on. Man, there's a lot of stuff. There's nationals. There's a little too much, but you got to find a way to novice riders too. We need welcome wagon situations
Yes.
where we can teach them the basics to make them money. They don't need coddling. They don't need free stuff. They don't need that stuff. It's the entry-level dudes that we got to bring along, and they also need to know you don't need a $1,500 bike to race BMX.
Correct.
You've got $300 bikes and used bikes out there that will take care of everything that you need in a sport.
I've seen a lot of them out there in quarters right now. Just nothing fancy, and kids are out there getting it done.
You know, and I love to see the privateers. I love to see the guys riding in jeans.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I rode in these sweatpants today.
There you go.
And I had a good time in them because I hate my race pants, but that's a whole other story. I just don't feel comfortable in them.
It's the Grand's food, the Grand's diet. It never works out. Every year I get caught by it.
Every year.
Every year.
Well,
it takes
Will Grant.
It takes the whole year to burn it off.
It's so funny you say that about the welcome wagon analogy there. I've never heard it put like that, and that is actually the perfect word for it, or a couple words for it. As a track operator, before I never thought about it, but now when I have somebody shows up, regardless of, you know, tall, short, if they're a little bit older, it's their first time, or a little bit younger in their first time, whether they're good or they're not so good, I want there to be like a 3-month, 6-month moratorium where the first night there, and it's a really good night, these teams can't just run up first night and see a little bit of, this is what we're going. I'm like, they're on a temporary member. What are we doing trying to just build numbers their first night and grabbing them and saying, you have no clue to what, you got to watch somebody to the sport themselves, their school, there's a whole lot of things that I understand.
And you don't service them the way you should.
100%.
So you guys are happy or whatever, or any of these other people or these teams, I don't give a crap about them.
Mm-hmm.
I want those get some knowledge, get a element to do a better job with the new members.
Well,
and the kids in the neighborhood.
Okay, rider acquisition cost.
Yeah.
I mean, you can start breaking. What does it take to get that person to walk through the door, and then you don't service them?
Yep.
Right. Well, because you don't want them going away, because then it's like almost like a catch-22, and you don't service them right. Then we're to other families that don't go there because they're like a horrible group of people. You know, we tried it once. It's like the soccer mom, softball dad, that whole thing. You know, you got to cater to them and on everything. And because like there's a handful of tracks that have like a 3-month beginner lead that they go through the whole thing before they even touch it fun and give them all the go and they just, I mean, like all the bells and whistles for a new person coming into the sport. It's really awesome.
Brian, real quick, the other night, and I know you've seen this firsthand. I know that his kid rides BMX, and he's a guest in from California, just pulls because you can go really quick from novice to intermediate. And I think, but they happen. It is what it is. Adapt and overcome, and just try to get them to slow down at one point. But yes, catering to that novice and intermediate has been the cornerstone to why we were able to grow the way I personally would have done it, and it did cater to the expert and pros. And when we switched that mindset,
And your Strider group is
Strider's got their own starting hill, gate, everything.
And what more do you want, man? Those the
So
oh,
many
yeah.
people. So many people. A few seconds, you're going to watch somebody walk by and lifting other people up, and it's amazing.
That's killer.
Who has the greatest BMX nickname of all time? Baby Mangler.
The baby.
is
She
the
was on
Cool, yep, she's the coolest kid.
yeah, she was on the other day.
Yep.
That
She is the coolest
gangster.
little girl.
Yes.
So when I was racing my cruiser, she was right before me or after, bumping her and everything. And I told her one day, I said, you know, I know George Andrews, the Mangler. I said, I saw him race when he was. I said, that's unreal. There for practice and stuff. So.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I'm not
good
too
stuff.
far. I got
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she wasn't feeling 17 off of last year.
yes.
How were grands? I mean, I was here last year. I don't remember numbers.
Yeah, I think the grands itself are going to be within probably 45, 50.
Yeah, because
And-
we're high 600s.
Yeah.
Right?
This year, high
Yeah.
600s.
High
Last year,
600s
it was
was like-
730, 735.
Yeah, so give or take off of that, I mean that's not too bad.
It's not bad at all.
You know.
But there's more. There's more novice intermediate motos than there was.
Right.
Just less expert
exactly.
upper intermediate.
The
and expert.
experts were. I mean, I think the older experts were just a little bit down. Out of
yeah.
like the 25-year-old range, you know, up to where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know, you get just a little bit, but then you know that kind of you put all those ones together, and then that'll count for quite a bit. But the mid, they're getting ready to lay hay here in a minute. I cannot tell you how amped up I am with what's going on and what's about to happen for these title chases for these other kids and these teams. It's just I'm jacked. I've been jacked all year because everybody said this year wasn't going to happen, and here it is at Grands with everything on the line.
What about the pros?
I mean,
the other night.
The pros.
That
the other
was
night
crazy.
Was you count, you know,
And Elise kept her title.
to with Stancil.
Wow.
With
Yep.
Stancil, you know, same thing with Mosquito. All things, you know, I don't interview him at home right off the big win on the stage with us earlier this week.
Yep.
And he doesn't get. If someone was making me T-shirts
He's a sponsor's dream.
and having
That happens. I see this, that. Was she thinking, oh, I got to beat Elise still? I mean, what? I wonder what her mindset was going into that.
Yeah.
No bump and run. It was like
things you almost don't want to plan it and say, okay, well, if I'm running in this position, I'm gonna chill. You know, it's like, you gonna hit? Okay. And so he was right where he needed to be. And when the payout line showed its head, there came CF11. You know, real big stuff.
I'd like to see the format stay. Like, just give away on the USA BMX side. UCI.
Do
yeah.
money, no points.
Yeah, just money throughout the
And
year, and then
it-
title and all that stuff is decided in December or
Put it all
November.
Put it all on the line. That's
Do
it.
it.
now. I'm not familiar with Nobles at all. The only thing I know about Nobles is he's a badass.
Nobles.
And was he racing all year this year, or
No.
was he doing his X Games stuff?
He was doing the guy he races Harleys. He was doing X Games stuff. He's doing mountain bike stuff.
So all of a sudden, a couple of weeks before, I said, I think I'll go to Tulsa,
Let's go.
Yeah. He's right there in Alabama, man.
and he rode like that.
Yeah, but dude, he's got the 9 to 5 acres, man. It's killer. His YouTube channel's banging. I love watching his YouTube. It's cool. He's got trails.
I got to find him.
He's got hills and turns, and he's you want to stuff on his property and inviting the kids in the neighborhood, and he's doing clinics. He actually has like a progression. It progresses. His whole.
We got to
acreage.
get him some T-bone stuff for his kids.
He's got it going on. Barry's such a cool dude. Would run into him at Sea Otter in Monterey when he'd come do the mountain bike race when we'd be racing out there. And you know what? Not once did he ever turn down a picture with my kids or me. Ever. Always had time for the young ones, man. And even now, You know, my wife got to hold his baby. You know, he's ended.
Man.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. He T-posted. Did
Uh-oh.
you see that? Threw the hands
Yeah.
out. Was like, what's up, bro?
Went for that T-bog.
Ain't gonna matter
Take
now.
this to the infield,
Yeah.
buddy. Hello,
Yeah.
Miss Kovacs.
Yeah, you got to definitely, hit up Barry, man. Barry's a cool cat, man. You know, Alabama's not too far from Florida.
No, not
You
at
know,
all.
It's a stop on the way home.
And now who's this other dude? And you know, like I said, I'm just getting back
Yeah.
in the sport and seeing some of these names. The guy racing AA Pro T-Bone.
Oh, let me.
T-Boner? Oh, Tanner
He's on
Sebesta?
Tanner Sebesta.
I want to meet
All right.
Tanner.
So,
Oh, you want to talk
yeah,
about
gotta
another
explain
nice
to you a
guy.
little something about T-Bone.
Okay, let's hear it.
I've been knowing this dude since he was,
Man.
my God, I don't know, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Been following his whole career. He came up through the amateurs, raced for Redmond. Redmond was an old schooler back in '85 when you left, and he's still kicking it today. So Tanner, had a really good amateur career, was real fast, handling business, went around the country and just killed it everywhere. Then he went pro, was a pro for a while. First pro win was at my track, with pretty much his home track back in elite. Started along the way, and he was the pro's pro. He was young, good looking, muscular, arrogant, cocky. Just he did what he had, playing strategy, right?
Yeah.
And what you seen on the track is the way he lived his life. And no kids or no anything. Then
Wide open.
he turns around, meets his lady, has a baby, has another baby, and he is now AA Elite Pro, track operator, father, soon to be husband. Like, all these different things are just coming out, and he has just developed into a spectacular cat. And he's one of the few elites. Anytime he's in town or around or can come up from Austin for the day, we have him do a clinic. But one of my biggest gripes about pros, I guess, I love all of them that I ever meet, and they're great people, but being not just saying I'm a professional at your sport, and as a person you're being paid on certain levels, and some of them get paid better than the others, and I understand that. But when you sign that card and that deal that you're a pro, be a professional, be a role model, But Tanner, he shows up. Even though he's being paid to do a clinic, he's going to be the star of the night. He's like, the water hose, hold on, I'm not going to put my gear on until I've done worked on this. He won't show up to your track and do a clinic unless he's allowed to work on it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He's a cool cat, and he's the epitome, in my opinion, of a professional
We got to get him
BMXer.
some T-Bone gear for sure.
Absolutely. It'll fit, won't it?
And that's the thing. That's what makes him a pro, because he hasn't worked a day in his life.
Yeah.
He's figured out how to make money off of what he loves. And he said that on the show when we had him on stage.
Yep.
like,
He's a Lone Star BMX.
Yep. He's like, technically, I haven't worked a day in my life. He's like, I'm doing what I love.
So Bernie Anderson, the Godfather, had 2 state qualifiers in one day at one track. It was Central Texas BMX and Lone Star BMX, and they just called it Texas Two-Step, and Bernie had his cigar or his pipe. I'm up there announcing the races. Man, I was coughing and choking and hacking. I can't stand cigars or pipes. But I definitely didn't let Mr. Anderson know that. But yeah, to have the man that started it all sit there at that track, and he's a big proponent of Tanner, and he's got his back, and Tanner runs Bernie's track. It's a pretty neat deal what Tanner landed in, but Tanner put himself in the right position to do that. But he'd be a good person for you to meet. And matter of fact, I think he'll definitely be at DeSoto. They already went back home. But when you come down, I will make sure that y'all get to sit down and talk.
Yeah, give me an address for him so I can drop him.
Make that happen.
But we got to run with this poker thing.
That's a done deal.
For me, that'll be fun.
I feel bad because I haven't been 100% in it. That's what I'm sitting there just like, okay,
how can
we
do
gonna
this?
do this? And I'm already planning. I'm excited. You'll be getting a call next week.
We've done a few charity events, so I'll give you a couple ideas. We can do it well.
Nice.
We can raise some good money.
What are we sitting on there on the?
We up there. I'll do it right here,
Yeah,
baby.
Man.
No, it looks like what is that? 8 novice.
8 novice.
8 novice, semi 90.
All right, it's getting close.
So if we're on 8
Right.
novice, how many?
So
more?
far, coming to Tulsa has been last year. I can say I did every single thing I wanted to do in novice last year, and I buy a wheel.
Oh,
And
I know.
And I was motivated, and I came out doing a lot of training. I was taking good care of. Broke my elbow in Rock Hill. Mentally
yeah.
cleared my head and started refocusing. Got 5th in my semi yesterday in Rock, and then I didn't make it out of my my quarter today.
You know what? It's tough.
So now I got to go back home to Florida. I got to regroup.
Yep.
I got to take my own advice to all those kids about training.
A lot of it, and you know what? A lot of it's not physical. A lot of it here at Grands is mental. You get caught up in the mental state. It's tough, and that's what's going to wear you down. At a regular national or like a big state